For Surgeon, to get started on the assembly, first print off the board PDF file. It should be 12 pages long. Be sure to print this off on heavy cardstock paper, about 200-pound cardstock. You can find this at any local office supply store, and they should have it. Next, print out the pieces PDF file. That's 11 pages long. Be sure to print that also again on heavy cardstock, 200-pound cardstock. And that should do it for the pieces. Be sure to just print off one copy because it's already 11 pages. So now that we have the board printed out and all the other pages printed out, we're going to go ahead and cut these up. For the board, we want to go along the border and cut off all this white space. You can see on some of the later pages, you might only have a little bit to cut out, such as this square. Go ahead and cut all those out. Over here on the other cards, let's see if we could zoom in here. For the dotted lines, we're going to go ahead and cut around all of those, but we don't want to cut over the black lines, over the bold black lines. So if you're ever in confusion, for these two will be matched up, so these two are going to stay connected, but this whole section will be cut across, or will be cut apart from this section here. Go ahead and follow those same rules for all the other cards. We got more and more. There should be a couple pages of those. Then we go on down here. These ones pretty much have the same rules. You're going to cut along the dotted border. So all of this should be cut out in one section. Remember, you don't want to cut across here because these two pieces are actually going to be taped and folded together later on. Go ahead and do that for all the time cards. About 3 pages of those. And then over here, you're going to be doing the same thing for all the little item cards, or for all these little item tiles. Cut along this dotted line, and then be sure to leave this line uncut. Do the same thing over here. For these faded ones, be sure to cut out all of this, and then leave this one uncut, because these two, you're going to have one side that's bold, one side that's faded. Those will be put together. And then the same thing for the last page. Go ahead and do that now, and then we'll see again once we get them all cut out. As you can see, I have all my pieces cut out. Now I'm just going to be using a glue stick to glue them together. I'm going to be folding these pieces across this way. I want to be folding them on that dark, thick line right there. You can see that line in between each of these different pieces. Over here for the blood too. And then you're just going to be gluing those two pieces together, so they're going to stick right here. So it has a front side and a back side. So go ahead and do that now with all these pieces. Now you can see that we have all of our pieces cut out for the game. I'm going to be placing my pieces in these tiny Ziploc bags just to keep them separated and so I don't lose any of the pieces. Now we have a lot of pieces to put together for our cutout board. We're going to go ahead and start with this top right one. We're going to lay this down just about 1 centimeter over the second top right one. And so you can see how that lines up. Then what we're going to do is we're going to tape it with just clear tape going across here, maybe about 4 or 5 pieces of tape. That'll make it so this will be able to fold over in the end. Okay, so we have our top right one here taped on. Next up, we're going to tape on the top left one. We're actually going to line this up on top of the second right one. Make sure that's lined up. We're going to paper clip these two parts together to have them line up. And then once those are paper clipped, we're going to take the whole thing, fold it over, so these will still be lined up, and then we're going to tape across here 4 or 5 pieces again. That way this back part will be able to fold over onto here. So now we already have these top 3 done. I'm going to go ahead and take my next level left one. I'm going to slide this in. I want to make sure it's underneath this top left corner, but over the top middle. I'm going to slide it in, and I'm going to go ahead and tape that going across here. So now that we see that this whole top panel is done, I went ahead and folded it together. We've attached on here, so this part can fold up. Now we're going to take this second left, and we're going to place it on top of the second row middle one. We're just going to go ahead and tape that going across here. So now we got the second panel taped with the first panel of the second row. We're just going to go ahead and tape on the third panel right on top of the second panel, just like I did here. So you can see that this panel is a smidge on top of the middle one. Just to make it a little bit easier to work with, I'm going to go ahead and fold everything together. And pass this section off to the side. Let's go ahead and work on our bottom half of the board now. So now we have our third row, which is first piece, middle piece, and right piece. We're going to go ahead and align both the right piece and the left piece on top of the middle piece. We're going to tape these together going across here and across here, and that should do it for this row. Now that we have these first three panels taped, I'm going to go ahead and tape this surgical item panel, or this last little panel, down here at the bottom on top of this third row left side panel. Good, now that we have this last left side row taped on, we're going to go ahead and tape on the middle last row, and we're only going to do that going across here, taping from the surgical items over to half of this panel. So we just want to go along right here, taping horizontally. Good, now we have this panel taped. We're going to go ahead and flip this over to get out of the way. We're going to grab our last panel, we're going to tape it on here. We're going to tape it up to this right side, and we're going to go across here. So this should be able to fold up and over on this side. Now comes time for the hardest part, connecting the top half with the bottom half. So we need to connect across these two panels. Remember, we don't want to connect the left side or the right side, just the middle, and we need to connect them on the back, which is going to be pretty tricky. So we're going to have to take these panels, place them here, be able to shove paper clips underneath this side and this side, flip it over, and then tape horizontally going across the back, or vertically, excuse me. Once you have the entire board completed, combined with the rest of all your pieces, you're now ready to play Surgeon.